So today we've got another mystery box, and it's a new release watch from Redmi. And after checking out the Redmi Smart Band Pro previously, we know that Redmi actually makes pretty decent smart bands.
Carve your name in my mind, 'cause you carved it. You carved it. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you know it. Me under the street light at the so I could show you. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you're glowing. Me under the mezzanine just so that I could show you. You're golden.
The Watch 2 Lite is a watch version that we're checking out today with pretty much all the features that you expect from a smartwatch today, so let's see if this watch is worth your money. Welcome to a review of the Redmi Watch 2 Lite. Hello, my name is Sean and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I do a lot of tech reviews as well as unboxing, and if that is something that interests you, do consider subscribing to this channel, leave a thumbs up on this video, as well as share this video to all your friends around. And with that said, let's get on with the review of the Redmi Watch 2 Lite. So today's mystery box is sent over to me for review by Xiaomi, and it's always exciting to see what you get inside the box, and this time is the Redmi Watch 2 Lite. So as usual, although these were sent over to me, there were no money exchange, and everything here is solely my own experience and opinion. So the Watch 2 Lite retails for pretty budget friendly $60 and about 191 Malaysia ringgit, and the main reason is that this watch is so appealing is because it comes with GPS. So if you're interested in getting a GPS smartwatch, do check out my links in the description below. So comparing it to the Smart Band Pro, the Watch 2 Lite may appeal to more users as it now comes with a size that is more typical to smartwatches and comes in a nice square design, vaguely resembling those old Sony smartwatches. So the display you get here is a 1.55-inch TFT LCD display with a resolution of 320 by 360, and the key difference here is that you don't get AMOLED display that you get with the Smart Band Pro. So the weird thing here with Redmi is that their cheaper Pro Smart Band has AMOLED, and the more expensive Lite version of this watch comes with TFT display. So I guess you're paying mainly for the screen real estate here. So although these are TFT displays, the images are still plenty sharp with very good pixel density, and looking at it directly, you're still going to get pretty nice blacks, but if you tilt them to the side, that's where you start to see the black turn a little bit brownish, typical to most LCD displays. So the watch comes with a button on the side here, and it doesn't really support the tap to wake feature. So if you're used to any modern smartwatches now, you're probably accustomed to just tapping the screen for the screen to come alive. So if you tap on the Watch 2 Lite, it doesn't come alive, and you have to press the button or use the raise to wake feature that you have in this watch. So since this watch is priced below the $100 price point, so it's still pretty understandable that we don't have that feature. So the band here can easily be removed, but also uses the proprietary Redmi quick release here. So if you want to change up the strap, you gotta wait for third-party strap makers to make one for this watch. The band here is also very soft, feels nice on the skin, although it's a little bit grippy when putting the strap into the buckle. Once they do get in, it pretty much stays in place. So behind the watch, you're going to get a large sensor surface. So this entire black part here is the sensor surface, and inside here you're going to get your PPG heart rate sensor as well as the SpO2 sensor, and the same magnetic charger for the Smart Band Pro can also be used here for the Watch 2 Lite. So the battery life here is pretty decent, and Redmi rates this to have a 10 days battery life for normal users. And if you're like me who likes to turn on all possible sensors, the 24/7 heart rate sensor, the SpO2 monitoring when you're sleeping, then the battery life is realistically around 5 days long. So I have this for about a week now, and you can see if I look at my battery life, it's about 39%. So this is without any notification push to my watch, so you can expect somewhere around 5 to 7 days of use. If you use GPS tracking on this watch, Redmi says that you get around 14 hours of continuous GPS mode, which is not the longest but pretty decent. So charging the band takes roughly around 2 hours to charge up. So feature wise, nothing too fancy here, no Qualcomm Snapdragon Wear here, But you get a modest chipset that supports Bluetooth 5.0 for syncing the watch to your phone, but this is not the fastest chipset around, so you do get a little bit of lag using this watch. So the watch here is also rated to be 5 ATM, which is the same as the Mi Band 6 as well as the Smart Band Pro, so you can bring this swimming up to 50 meters deep. One area where the Watch 2 Lite is better than the Smart Band Pro is that it supports onboard GPS tracking using standard GPS constellations such as GLONASS, Galileo, and Beidou. So these are just the GPS satellites used for different regions. So typical sensors found for this watch includes the 6-axis sensor, 3-axis accelerometer, as well as 3-axis gyroscope, the PPG heart rate sensor that we've mentioned earlier, as well as the SpO2 blood oxygen monitor. So sleep tracking, stress monitoring, breathing exercise, and female health tracking are all standard features found in most of the smartwatches today. So comparing this to the Smart Band Pro, the Watch 2 Lite doesn't have one critical feature, which is the ambient light sensor. So once you set the brightness, you really gotta commit to it unless you want to go into the settings to change it every time. So I personally think this is a deal breaker, because imagine you have it set at level 5 brightness, which is the brightest, and you go into a dark room, then it's gonna be so bright. And if you set it too low for nighttime use, and if you go outdoors, it's gonna be too dim. So I think for any future smartwatches moving forward, an ambient light sensor is a super important feature to have with any watch if you want to be competitive. So the watch interface here is very familiar if you've used Redmi's interface before. So from the home screen here, if you tap and hold for about 3 seconds on a watch, you will hear a vibrate, and then here you can choose any of the watch faces you want. So earlier on I mentioned the chipset isn't fast enough, and you can see how laggy it is here. So that's one drawback of having a cheap chipset that doesn't it's not fast enough to handle the watch. So you can also download various watch faces here into your watch from the catalog online, and they have quite a number of it. So you can just choose whichever that you like and you can select them. So let's just choose the original one that came with the watch. So swiping from the top, this is where you're going to get your notifications. If you turn them on, then it will be pushed into your watch here. And swiping from the bottom, this is where you will get your command center. So you get to toggle the do not disturb. So the first one, like a moon, is a do not disturb. The second one is raise to wake. So if you flick your wrist, the screen will turn on. The third one is to set your alarm. This one is to go into flashlight mode. This one is to turn the screen on for 5 minutes, and this is your settings. So inside the settings, this is where you can adjust your brightness, your watch faces, and various other settings about the watch. So that's how you control the watch. You can also swipe to go backwards, and it will go back to your home screen. So swiping from the left and right is the same thing, and you get various types of widgets. So these widgets can be customized inside the app itself, and you can enable or disable them up to 7 widgets in total, right? So the first one I have here is my heart rate monitor, and you can see that inside here that you cannot scroll, you cannot do anything. It basically just tells you some information about your heart rate. So the second one I have is the SpO2 monitoring. Then I have my weathers. This is to start a workout. So inside workout is pretty cool, because if you choose your workout and let's say you do an outdoor run, the first thing it will do is search for GPS, and you can see the GPS counter is actually flicking at the top, and it's searching for GPS signal. And if you get GPS, then you can just start. If you don't have GPS, then you can just start without GPS as well. So the next one you're gonna get is your sleep tracking, and this is tracking my sleep yesterday. So I had about 7.6 hours of sleep. Not really sufficient, but again, you can't scroll from here. You can't really scroll, so you have to go into the menu for that, which we will look into a little bit later. So next, this is your stress monitoring. So I haven't been testing my stress monitoring, and then you go back to your home page. So that's the widget if you swipe from left to right. The next one that we want to check out is the menu, and if you click into the button here, you will go into the menu. So this is very similar to the Smart Band Pro that we looked at. You can either choose this to be in a list view or grid view. So what I have here is a grid view. So if you have it in list view, it will tell you the name of the feature as well. So inside here, there are more things that you can explore. So for instance, if I go into my heart rate monitoring, here you get the same thing that you saw inside the widget there, but the difference here is that you can scroll and you can see more information about it, and you can also start measuring your heart rate, and it will tell you some information about how to do it. And once you do that, And let's try to see if we can get it to light up. And if you strap the watch to your hand, it will start measuring your heart rate there. So there are quite a lot of different features that you can play around here. You have your music controls, you have your camera control. So this is just a remote. You can have your various clock features, and that's pretty much the entire interface you get with the Redmi Watch 2 Lite. So the Watch 2 Lite here also uses the same app for Xiaomi smartwatches and uses the Xiaomi Wear app for all its app control. And if you're on Android, you can search for the Android Wear, and if you're on iOS, search for Xiaomi Wear Lite. Okay, so the first page here is where you get all your health information, and this is where you can deep dive into your health status to check your sleep status, your heart, your blood oxygen, your stress level, and many more. So if you scroll around, you can see my sleep pattern yesterday. So if I click into it, there's quite a lot going on here, and it tracks every single thing that you usually get inside here. So it tells you whether you have deep sleep, light sleep, whether you wake up in the middle of the night. And let me see the SpO2. Yep, and here it plots out your SpO2 throughout your sleep because I turned that feature on. It's also probably because of the tightness of your watch that it may not be as accurate, so do strap them tight enough but not too tight. So that's all the information you get from sleep, and same as heart rate, your blood oxygen. If you click into any one of them, it'll tell you more information about them, which is cool. So the second page here is where you can track your workouts. Of course, this Watch 2 Lite comes with GPS. So if you want to use only your watch for your workouts, you can also do that. But if you want to start it from your phone itself, you can also do that. So this is where you can track your workouts. And the last one here is your profile. And there's a lot of things that you can do here. You can sync your watch. And every time you sync your watch, it will also check whether there's the latest update. So let's try that. So if we sync that, you can see there's a new update that is here, which I will update later. So at the bottom here, this is where you get the catalog of watch faces. So if I click into here, you can see I have my local watch faces that I have synced to my watch. I can also go online, and you can see that there are abundant of watch faces, and which you can also click into, and you get a long list, not very long, but you get a list of watch faces that you can choose from, which is pretty cool. And if you go down here, you can also select to have app notifications, but for privacy purposes, usually I'll just turn off app notification during reviews, and I will also have the ability to check my health monitoring, and everything inside here is something that you can adjust, right? So if you go into heart rate, you can see what are the things you want to adjust: continuous heart rate, active heart rate, what is the maximum value to alert you. If you go into sleep, you can also check whether or not to have advanced sleep monitoring to track your REM sleep as well, REM sleep. Your blood oxygen, how frequent they check your blood oxygen when you're sleeping, your stress monitoring, idle alert, and so on and so forth. Below that, you also get to track your weather updates for your local location, workouts, and below here, this is where you can adjust your widgets. So your widgets, you get to choose up to a maximum of 7. So here you can pick whichever that you want. These are all the things that you can track. There's nothing else you can add or remove. So these are the 7 that I have. So below that, you can also choose your app layout, which is now in grid view. I can also choose it to have a list view. So if I click into my watch now, you can see it's now in a list view. So if I go back out, I click on grid view, and now it's in a grid view. So it works pretty fast, and it syncs pretty fast to your watch. So that's really nice. You can also have race to wake, from what time to what times. And below that, you can also check the user guide, check for updates, and information about your device. So that's pretty much all the controls you get with the Xiaomi Watch app. So from my test with an oximeter, the SpO2 and heart rate monitor is almost spot on. So I usually get about 1 or 2 BPM variance for the heart rate, and for my SpO2, for the most part, the SpO2 reading was always spot on. So if I get 98 on my oximeter, then it's probably going to read 98. So it's pretty much spot on most of the time. So which in this case is pretty good, since now you have a convenient device that you can wear every day that monitors your vitals. So I think this is pretty nice. So all in all, I think for $60 US, this watch is a very budget-friendly watch, and it comes with all the features you expect from a flagship smartwatch should have. So it even comes with GPS for this price, so there's really nothing to complain about. My only complaint here is that the chipset used in this watch is not fast enough to handle the UI, and if you're okay with a laggy UI and you don't really like play around with your watch a lot, then it's a pretty good deal here. However, I think that Redmi should consider using a higher end chipset, charge a little bit more, give users a better and smoother experience, and that would be a fantastic smartwatch. So that is it for this review. If you find this video helpful, smash the thumbs up button, share this video everywhere, and if you haven't yet subscribed, do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.